Hello, Atlanta Athletic Club. Matt Check, PGA Teaching Pro here at the club. Let's recap yesterday's lesson that we went over wedge yardages and controlling the carry on your wedges from 50 to 100, even up to 120. So we used TRACKMAN. We had 4 numbers, and all those numbers had an optimal kind of rating to them. So the first number was carry. Very simple. We want to hit at our yardage. It's an easy machine to use. You can come see us in a lesson and we can check how far you hit your clubs. The next thing we looked at was launch angle. Optimal launch is lower is better. Let's just think of it like that. Pro likes to launch at around 30 to keep the ball down, and it actually takes us to our third number, which is spin rate. And they've found that they get more spin if they try to hit it lower than wasting energy with the ball going up. The ball goes up, it's landing soft, but it doesn't have that backspin, it doesn't have that kind of come back on it, and the harder you swing, maybe not generate the more distance, it just maybe go more up. And then the fourth number was, can we get the club face square at impact, face to path, club face relationship to path. So we'll go ahead and hit a couple, and then we'll talk about the numbers and go through it here. I'm gonna try to hit to this pin. It's about 75 yards away. Now, let's go ahead and look. And I was launched it at 28 degrees. And my spin was 7,000. That's very high. About 7,500 is where that ball is going to sit and stay where it went. It wouldn't back up or go forward. My club face was obviously a little closed there. That's why the ball went left. So I can kind of pick up on these things and see. So how did I produce that low launching, high spinning shot? Well, first thing I did was I found that my sand wedge is easier to hit low than my lob wedge. So from 75 yards, I always thought, it's a perfect low lob wedge, but no, that was too difficult for me. That was going up in the air. I had to work too hard, and it really wasn't spinning as much as my sand wedge. So go ahead and get the club that you can launch it at that 30-degree window. So that was the first thing that you can do to make sure that you're optimizing your wedges. Now the next thing is all about setup to me. Now, a normal setup for a 7-iron is different than a wedge. Just like a 7-iron is different than a driver. So we talked a couple weeks ago about chipping and getting all the weight forward, getting into an impact position with the, toes slightly left, hips slightly forward, shoulder square. A version of that works really well when we're knocking down a wedge. Remember, when we use a club that has more than 40 degrees aloft, it needs to be knocked down. It produces the best shot if we hit a pseudo punch shot. That's going to give us the best train of action to hit the ball on the green. So when we set up, let's go ahead and make sure that when we're hitting a wedge, we don't want it in the back of our stance because it'd be harder to square the face. But we're going to put it kind of in the middle of our stance. We're going to make sure that our weight's forward without leaning a whole lot. So you want to be able to set up, and as you kind of watch here as I set up, I'm able to pick up my back foot just barely, and my head's not moving a lot. If I was on my back foot and I tried to pick it up, my head would have to move off from where it's at. So just that easy little setup of having the weight on the front without leaning a whole lot. You just got to kind of mess around with it and see how you can do that. And that effectively will help us descend on this ball and get it to launch low. And the lower it launches, the more spin it's going to create, and the less effort we gotta use. So that's the setup. Now, the next thing is that you have to teach yourself how to square the face to path we talked about. If you're just really working on hitting it low, your face may stay open. A lot of people, in my opinion, hit it too high because they only know how to square the face with this scooping mechanism, where the hands get kind of behind the club. That's a no-no for a wedge. That is not going to help us. So if you want to do a drill to kind of feel what it's like to square the face with the hands in front, Ben Hogan used to talk about it as kind of supinating that front forearm, learning how to roll these forearms over to get the face square with the hands in front. The drill you want to do is just hold this club upside down and just kind of grip it up by the neck of the club, and then make sure the shaft is pointed outside your front hip. And now if you scoop, it's going to go ahead and pop you in the side. Now every time I do this with people, the first swing, they miss their left hip, but they finish like this. Well, this tells me that the club face is still open. So as we do this drill, we want to kind of pass the front hip with the shaft, and then we want to point the grip of the shaft at the ground in front of us. See these forearms? They've rolled over, but I still got this trail wrist cupped up. That means that the club face stayed down as I squared it. So I wasn't scooping it. I was able to hit it with this kind of low launching shot. That's pretty much it. If you got to work on your yardages, we also talked about kind of a 9 o'clock swing versus a full swing. Kind of know those stock yardages. What is the best avenue for you? Are you hit at X yardage? You might want to start laying up to that yardage on the holes that it's a par 5, or you may have missed your drive off the fairway. Find that yardage that works best for you. Closer to the green is not always better. So I'll go ahead and hit a few more here and kind of get us through this. We set up for this 75-yard shot, and I want to make sure I get my weight forward. I want to make sure that I'm ready to roll those forearms over out in front of me. And I'm going to kind of keep shorter is more, shorter swing. So that was just kind of a half swing, but I was able to produce a pretty far flight on it. And again, I'm showing you numbers here that I was able to launch it below 30. I was able to keep the spin up, and it's just an easy way to hit an 80-yard shot. You don't need to sit there and work as hard as you think. So practice-wise, you want to just go and find yourself this long of a shot and just see if you can get 5 in a row on the green, 6 on a row on the green. You're going to have to do it correctly to be very consistent. I hope you enjoyed this video and you're able to really lower the wedges and add some spin. Thank you for watching.